That was confusing. Okay, my now the audio thing is taken care of, where it's not just playing my intro theme the entire time. Welcome to another episode of No Man's Land with Razor and my friend Howard. What was the last name? Immediately forgot it. Howard
Howard Rhodes.
Howard Rhodes. Yes. Today we will be finally getting to the Israel half of the history of terror that Israel has done to the Palestinians over the many years. Uh,
So we should start off by acknowledging it's a total accident that we're doing this on Passover. We were
we
supposed to do it last week, but I had another commitment. That feels like a terrible timing. I don't usually give too many fucks about that sort of thing, but
It
yeah,
feels like it's
this is an
best if we at
accident.
least it feels like it's best if we at least acknowledge it. If we had done it last week, it would have been during tax day, and I don't know if people would have liked hearing about that on an already sad day. Um,
That's true.
Also my
I don't know about
birthday,
you.
so
I don't know about you. I got raped a little harder with my taxes this year.
I
Mm,
luckily I got just I ended up getting like I think $90 back in federal and about like a few hundred in state, but that's yeah. I was safe on that one.
all right. So anyway, so back into Israel Palestine. We also, in case anyone didn't see the last episode, last time we did a history of Palestine and some of their heinous acts. Now, this is not meant to be a complete history. It would be impossible to put together a complete history on a podcast. We're not saying these are the only horrific things Israel has ever done. We're not necessarily saying they're the most important. We just picked a couple because we want to make sure that people know the history a little bit better and understand what's going on beyond basic catchphrases and memes about
Cold
colonialism
mindsets.
and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay. Going to the live scene. So everyone can see. I ended up so with the screenshots you sent me, I saw of course the name Theodore Herzl, who I guess that's we're going to be going over first, correct?
Correct. So
Yeah.
I'm sure
I
a
ended
lot of
up
you know who Theodore Hurt. Go ahead.
I ended up finding the Britannica the website for Britannica.com where it has a pretty good overview of him. I do have those two screenshots ready to go of what you sent as well. Uh, but any information that's not on the two screenshots appears to also be on this Britannica site.
Okay, so let's start here. A lot of people know the name Theodore Herzl, more or less the founder of Zionism. I feel like if you Google who is the founder of Zionism, Herzl's name will pop up. He was a journalist and playwright living in France at the end of the 18th century. Now, I wanted to start with this first screenshot. It's from the Mark Tesla book, which has been the main resource I've used on this, just to stick to one source that is generally considered the most unbiased of all the literature out there. But this is an interesting screenshot. I've never found it in digital form. I've never found anyone talking about this in digital form, but it's very interesting. So, why don't you go ahead and read that first one?
Okay, we'll do. So it states Herzl began reporting from Paris in 1891. And many of his articles dealt with the growth of increasing acceptability of anti-Jewish rhetoric, including verbal attacks on the Jews by members of the Chamber of Deputies. Herzl himself collected and reprinted many of his dispatches dealing with the anti-Jewish themes in a volume in uh, published in 1895. In 1894, he published The New Ghetto, a play in which his diminishing faith in assimilation is expressed. One of the play's central characters is told that the Jews will never achieve total equality, no matter how educated or emancipated they become. Uh, when there was a real ghetto, we were not allowed to leave it without permission, on pain of severe punishment. Now the walls. The hell? Sorry. When uh I lost. Sorry, I had
It's
notifications
okay.
go off.
It's okay. You would reach the most important quote here.
Yeah.
So,
When there was a
one
real ghetto, we were not allowed to leave it without permission on pain of severe punishment. Now the walls, barriers have become invisible, yet they're still rigidly confined to a moral ghetto. There it is.
Yes. Now, I thought this was important. Number one, it shows the entitlement that he has for a Jewish state right off the bat. But more
Hmm.
so than that, it highlights one of the most toxic things that you can believe in regard to race. And it's part of the reason we'll talk about wokeness one day, why I hate wokeness so much. There's this belief that you are a victim no matter what happens. There's this, he establishes the firm idea that no matter what happens to the Jewish people, they're not accepted and they're always the underdog. And the next step to that is, well, therefore we can do whatever we want because we're the victim.
Yeah, victim complexes can cause that to happen, especially if you get when you get bad faith actors showing up. I don't know if I can say Herzl is one. It kind of sounds like it with the way he's acting, but at the same time, you almost understand where he's coming from in a way.
Oh, I absolutely think he is a good faith actor, and the anti-Semitism and anti-Semitism and the pogroms that were growing at that time were exceptionally horrific. So I do believe he's a good faith actor. But what I specifically believe is once your brain accepts this idea, I'm a member of this collective, and this collective is always down in the gutter no matter what happens. That's a mindset for chaos, and you
Oh,
need to you
immensely
need to
so.
eradicate that belief from your brain, or you're always going to seek some kind of revolution, and
Yeah, retribution
kill
is
you could
definitely enough.
retribution. You could just destroy the entire world because you never think that you've been accepted.
I have fun for it, yeah. And yeah, when we actually get into the topic where we speak about wokeness from multiple sides, it's definitely gonna be we'll probably be agreeing on more than we think.
I think so too. But
Yeah.
now the other thing is Herzog's play here. I don't believe it's ever been published in English. I've gone looking for it. I've never seen an English version. Could be wrong, could be out there somewhere, but it's interesting that the work that created this movement that has been at the center of the world stage for so long is something that we English people, English speaking people, have to rely on the reporting of others for.
Oh. Uh, what was the next thing you had posted here? Uh, no, yeah, I feel like we could easily dig into the whole, yeah, dig into the to that. Though I really hate using the term victim complex, but it fits when you hear that when you hear it when
Oh
you hear
yeah,
this, I
and
say.
of course, a victim complex usually starts with some validity. If you look at
Hmm.
what was going on in Europe at that times, was Elders of Zion out at that time in Russia, maybe, or was that, I forget the exact timeline for that, but people were starting to believe that sort of shit.
Yeah.
So it usually starts from a valid place and reaches some kind of boiling point.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like it's not that far. It's not that far off to say. There's a reason why the whole thing about the biggest lies will usually come from a kernel of truth kind of a thing. And the truth
Oh, of
is
course.
the truth is they
Well,
were very much
it's
oppressed, but
well,
they
it-
went on
it's
too far with
it's
it.
actually very difficult to say something that is 100% wrong.
Yeah.
Even QAnon can point to Jeffrey Epstein. It's hard to
Right.
say something with zero truth to it. All right,
Like
so the next step should be another screenshot about the pamphlet, right?
yep. On go ahead and read it here. On the 14th of February, 1896, Theodor Herzl published the pamphlet Der Judenstaat, or the Jewish State. I can't believe I said that right. The outlining his vision for the founding of a future independent Jewish state. This is where the aspect of nationalism starts coming in, and I'm
Yes.
ooh. The seminal book was published in the context of rising anti-Semitism in Europe, culminating in the Dreyfus affair in 1894, Herzl encouraged Jews to purchase land in the historic land of Israel, then Palestine, and called for the creation of a Jewish state with international acceptance. That that never. Hmm. Oh.
I mean,
Oh.
it's pretty clear cut. You know, this right
Yeah.
here is the kind of thing a lot of Zionists don't like to believe that this is what the ideology says. This is quite literally what it says.
Yep. It's to create a nationalist state, which unfortunately uh kind of fits with the Nazis. Ouch.
And they're gonna come up. They're gonna come up later, and we talk a lot in these discussions about. Boy, does it suck that you know both sides are not totally clean. In our
Yeah.
last episode, we talked about the Nazi connections with the Palestinians, which are pretty deep. We're
Yep.
gonna see in a little bit that Israel has them too, and
Yep.
you know
Which then also ends
we'll
up
get to that momentarily. Go
that
ahead.
it ends up making the idea of the Jewish Nazis during Hitler's reign make way more sense than I thought.
Oh
I
yeah, oh for sure.
Jesus Christ. Okay, he argued that the Jewish problem as such was not an individual issue but one of a national importance, and declared that Jews could gain acceptance in the world only if they ceased being a nation without a homeland. That
Yeah.
doesn't make
Again,
sense.
N- no, it doesn't. And what's funny about that is, on some level, that's what Palestinians are arguing today. So if that argument has any validity, then it kind of goes both ways.
Uh, uh, of course, I think the biggest difference, of course, with this particular thing is that it was even in the little document here it says then Palestine. It was already Palestine's thing, but
Right, right.
but
Well,
yeah, I get
Palestine
that.
was
I get
owned
the
by
argument.
it was owned by the Ottoman at that point. But
Yeah.
uh, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So another thing I forgot to screenshot this or put up a link, but another thing that Herzl points out is a Bible passage that essentially says that that land belongs to Israel, which
Oh yeah.
is which is where the religious element comes in.
I
It's not
swear I
that
was like,
Jews believe that passage gives them the land. Well, Christians believe Jesus will return if the Jews have that land. So, I mean, if you're
I
going to have a theocratic, if you believe in theocracy and you believe this is a holy war of sorts, then I suppose that's a decent argument. Now, in the last episode, I mentioned that the Muslims claim that they believe in the Old, New, and Quran, the Old Testament, New Testament, and Quran. It's a pretty decent argument for putting them in charge if you believe in theocratic reign. Well, the Bible passage actually does say that. So if you believe in any kind of uh, theocratic justice, if you will, then they do have that argument. Now, I personally, you know, religion doesn't carry any fucking weight with me, and
Mhm.
even if I was religious, I wouldn't believe that it pertained to territories. But if you believe that, they do have it.
I unfortunately the Britannica does not have the bit about him referencing the thing. I was hoping I could find it. I can't seem to find where he references the Bible. Unfortunately, I thought I
We
could see
can
it.
skip it. We don't have to. We don't have to.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that's true. It's not like we're saying something that people are unfamiliar with. I'm sure you can just Google any one of the
Uh,
1950s pastors or ministers, and they got that shit quoted over and over again.
what?
All right, so
Sorry, so I got small bit of a scare. Hello, 20 viewers. How are you doing today? Thank you so much to Permacon Sleepum. Thank you so much for following. uh, you were here at the beginning. We are currently talking about the history of Israel and Zionism. We're just like last week, we spoke about Palestine and its terroristic attacks it's done in its past. Welcome, welcome one and all.
Wow.
Yeah,
All right.
I got
All right.
spooked.
So all right. So moving on to the next part.
Yes. Oh, is my thing going weird? There we go. I was confused. I was confused. Why why was my my screen black on the thing? Okay, moving on to the next thing. That was what was next up on our list here? You still there?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, being sure. What was next on our list here? It was.
I think it
Well,
was. I think we're moving on to Stern, right?
yeah, Avraham Stern. Avraham Stern. I have. There he is. The Wikipedia. It's the Wikipedia page, but there's obviously things we can look into. We just need a small bit there.
Right.
Uh,
All right. So we talk a lot in this discussion about where do you start the clock. I think a lot of your view on who the good guy is and who the bad guy is tends to be on where you believe the clock started. And when we start to talk about the Stern Group, we're getting to a place where the pro-Palestine side has a pretty good argument to say the clock starts here and you're the fucking bad guys.
yeah.
So so Stern, of course, was a Russian-born Jew who came
Yep.
to Palestine, mandated Palestine. Now, what's unusual is most of the people who led the Zionist movement around this time were actually born in mandated Palestine because Jews started moving to that area in the late 18th century. By the time like the 40s, 50s, and whatnot came around, a lot of those guys who were forming all the Jewish organizations had grown up in that area, the same as the Arabs had. So it's
Oh,
interesting that the most toxic and evil of the Zionists did not grow up there.
yeah. And as I'm looking at I was just reading the first paragraph of the Wikipedia. Yeah, Stern's legacy is controversial due to his organization unsuccessfully attempting to form an alliance with Nazi Germany against the
I think
British during World War II.
I think controversial is an understatement. I've never met anyone who supports the Stern Gang. I've met people who will kind of downplay it a little bit. I have never met someone who had the gall to admit that they respect or like the Stern Gang in any capacity.
Ooh, yeah, this is news. This is very much news.
All right, so as I've said before, we don't want to try to give a full history because it's impossible. We just want to
Yeah, we're
highlight a
giving it a
few that
brief
don't talk about
overview.
that much. So the next big one. Now, I don't know if there are any Guinness drinkers out there. I'm drinking Guinness right now. So when you fuck with Guinness people, you fuck with me. So so you have Myron. I forget exactly how he pronounced his lord name, but he was kind of like the British Secretary of State in the Middle East, and he came from the famed
Like that
Guinness
bomb.
family
No,
in
not that one.
the famed Guinness family in Ireland. And of course, he was assassinated by the Stern Gang for more or less wanting peace.
It there should be a thing. I feel like there should be a thing here.
I got
Uh
I got two screenshots there.
oh yeah, yeah, you did send those, didn't you? Right, the Irish story. Yeah, okay, I did have it then. Okay, yeah, Walter Edward Guinness, Lord Moyne. Okay, I didn't. Yeah, let me open up these links. I didn't open up these things. I didn't put these images. I forgot
Yeah,
about them.
just go right for the screenshots.
Yep, there we go. Okay. Uh, which one do you want? The one that
The first one, whichever left to right, whatever the order is.
okay, left to right. Okay. Uh, so it's from. Oh, so it is from this little site here, the Irish Story. The screenshots are on the Dublin-born Walter Edward Guinness. I said McGuinness. Jesus Christ.
That's sacrilege. Come on, man, get your shit together.
Okay. By the next week, a forensic examination had established the pistols wielded by killers had been used in a string of murders of British police officers by the Stern Gang. Okay, then you were just calling them the Stern Gang because people who who call themselves that there's an actual thing for them. I didn't realize that.
Hmm.
Nevertheless, the decision had already been made not to concentrate too much on the masters of the assassins last in doing so. Drastic action should be directed against the whole Jewish community in Palestine. Instead, all attention was to be concentrated on the two killers. The gunmen Hakim and Bet Zuri had their final say before being hanged, following the footsteps of many Irish martyrs, from Robert Emmet to that of the Fenians, boldly using their trial to proclaim their aspirant nation's cause. I can't say words. Aspirant nation's cause.
Now, one thing that I'm thinking about right now, listening to that, a lot of people don't know. If they want a cool little piece of history, the Irish and the Arab nation have had a strong uh, allyship for a long time over their mutual hatred of the British. And if you want to look up the IRA and their relationship with Gaddafi and all that, it's really fascinating shit. Just as a little side note. So so they assassinated an official. This is the first time that the Stern Gang assassinates an official. This conflict, there's a lot of going back and forth between who has the moral high ground, who doesn't. In my opinion, knowing this history, this is the first place where you say, holy shit, in that moment, Israel really lost a pretty big fucking moral high ground.
Yep. Uh, in the second thing, the two Stern Gang members of Eliyahu Hakim and Eliyahu Bet Zuri. I think that's how you pronounce their names.
I mean, that sounded pretty good to me.
Uh, I've many, many years of either practicing how to say Japanese words or learning French, which I've lost a lot of my French thing, but I know how to do the accents well. That's different.
Right.
Okay. Uh, in November of 1944, 3 months after the attempt on the High Commissioner Mac Michael's life, two Stern Gang members, Elihu Hakim and Eliyahu Betzuri, waited for Lord Moyne near his Cairo residence when he was shot in the neck, chest, and abdomen as he stepped into his automobile in front of his home. His chauffeur was killed instantly. Lord Moyne had survived the gun. What a fucking beast.
Yeah, and if you look him up on YouTube, one of the first videos that comes up, it's not particularly entertaining to watch, but interesting that it exists, is the Egyptian government transferring his body into the hands of the Brits in the 70s. So decades later, they handed his body over.
Huh.
Very, very bizarre. I'm sure there was some kind of reasoning behind it that's not that fascinating, but
It is,
decades to transport his body.
yeah, it is very fun. It
Uh,
is, yeah.
well, it's interesting that it took that long. I'm just kind of it's probably some
Confused.
stupid technicality that wouldn't make too much sense, but
Sure.
uh, uh, all right. So the next thing that happened, of course, was Dear Yassin. But before we get into that, I want to talk about their other big assassination. So let's keep going. Let's see the next one.
That was that was Middle East
The Swede,
mediators
the
murder.
folk.
Count Folk Bernadotte.
That's the one.
I believe that was the video you sent me here.
That's right.
Okay, awesome. Okay, let's get that up. Being sure it's being shown correctly. Okay. Let's go ahead and hear what this is. Obviously, make sure we can avoid as much copyright as possible. I will be doing what I can. This is from UN Story. This is from the UN Story. Feel free to go ahead and give them a sub if you like learning history. You know, gotta give the proper what's the word I'm looking for here?
Yeah,
Gotta give the proper
just giving
calling
it the
out.
props, giving it the respect. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Palestine, 1948.
Clashes increased, and soon open warfare broke out in this troubled area of the world.
Stories from the UN archive. Count Folk Bernadotte, 1895, and died in 1948. Peace mediator Count Folk Bernadotte was assassinated in the line of duty on September 17th, 1948. 4 months before, the UN General Assembly appointed Count Folk Bernadotte UN mediator for Palestine.
Correct. Now,
He
by
was
the way,
charged with
another
negotiating a
thing to
settlement.
put in real quick is he had negotiated a number of Jews out of Germany during World War II. I don't know the exact number, but it was in the thousands. He saved thousands of Jews from the Holocaust leading up to this.
Oh, that makes it so much worse when you think about
So
it.
much fucking worse. So much fucking worse. And he was once again killed for advocating for peace. The basically the UN came so close to having some kind of a reasonable deal, and he was assassinated by the Stern Gang in that moment.
Oh boy. Okay, continuing.
Situation in Palestine. Count Bernadotte devoted himself to meetings with the Arabs
I'll
and
be
the
right
Jews,
back.
and was finally successful in arranging a truce.
Count Bernadotte's success would be short-lived.
The Security Council is met here today under the shadow of the terrible news.
This is Sir Alexander Cadogan. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Palestine of the murder of the United Nations mediator, Count Bernadotte. The United Nations were fortunate indeed in securing the services of so distinguished a man. Included in this tragedy was the murder of General André Serrault of the French Air Forces.
I did not eat in the Middle East. Members of the Zionist militant group were responsible for the murders.
Yep, these just came back. Sorry, what I miss?
It was just the bit about the UN Council announcing the death of Bernadotte.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, how fucking cool is it whenever you find these ancient videos of newsreels?
Oh, it actually is
I
very
always love
cool. Yeah, it's very
It's very
cool
cool to
because because you it's almost like you it's like stepping into like a time capsule for a hot second and realize,
Yeah.
oh, it's we're not even that far off from when cameras and video recording started being a thing, but it feels like we're like centuries ahead at this point. That's just how fast
Right.
technology moves.
Well, it's really crazy to think. I have a family member who just turned 100 the other day,
Oh,
and it's crazy to think. It's crazy to think. She was born in the ages of horse and buggies, and she's lived to see all this.
that is insane.
It's completely insane to think about. I don't think any other generation will live to see that kind of change over the course of their life.
Yeah, no. Unless we can somehow get space travel within the next like 50 years, no. We're talking like
Maybe.
average
I would.
space
I wouldn't
travel.
bet. I wouldn't bet on it, but it's possible.
Yeah.
All right, back to the
Okay.
topic.
Yeah, so members of the Zionist militant group were responsible for the murders. That now reading that sentence really does make it very, at least to me at this point right now, Zionism might have been a cancer.
So one thing to point out though is
Uh,
no, Zionism doesn't completely represent the Stern Group. I mean, excuse me, the Stern Group doesn't completely represent Zionism,
Yeah.
but of course they are a factor in the judgment. They're a part of the history. You know,
Yeah.
the Stern Group is to Zionism what the Klan is to America.
Y- Okay, that's actually a pretty good comparison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and most groups in history have a Stern
Have
Group or a
Yeah,
Klan
and they have that
or
that
something.
they have that fringe that's extra violent.
And as we've been talking about, I mean, the two things that will really bring on this kind of behavior are viewing race of any kind through a collectivist, through a collectivist view, or nationalism.
Yeah.
And if you combine both of those things, you're in for hundreds of years of misery.
Continuing onward.
The world mourned the first United Nations casualty in the struggle for world peace.
We paid
The first murder in United Nations history in the struggle for world peace. They said,
Yep.
bruh,
Well,
that
of course, the United Nations was brand new.
yeah, it's
First thing they did, pretty much the first thing they did was create borders for Israel and Palestine.
where peace was trying to be a thing, and oh god, that actually really hurt. That actually really hurts more whenever I think about it. Oh my god, everyone always talk about they want peace, but god damn it, it's so bad. Okay, continuing. This is New York, USA. New York, USA, September 1949.
tribute to the memory of a great man, a great disciple of peace.
Ralph Bunche, the UN mediator for Palestine. He's a new one, I guess.
A great internationalist. Our words, indeed our presence here, can add no luster to his name.
In making the ultimate sacrifice, Count Bernadotte was awarded the Dag Hammarskjolds Medal. I think I said that correctly. The Dag Hammarskjolds Medal. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say Nordic words.
Right.
Murdered on his post as the first UN mediator for trying to obtain peace in the Israel-Arab.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Did I misread that?
My father was murdered on his post.
Okay, okay, this is his kid. In 1998, New York, USA, October 1998.
As the first UN mediator for trying
Bertil
to obtain
Bernadotte.
peace in the Israel-Arab conflict. He couldn't finish the job because he was shot at point-blank range 50 years ago. For half a century, no one has come closer to a lasting peace in that region.
For 50 years, they couldn't get close because, oh my god. More than 50 years passed and no one could go anywhere close to what he was able to do.
I mean, I think you could argue that they still haven't.
No one's even tried. Is what it
Yeah.
feels like.
Yep.
Bruh. And this is all because of the Stern Gang.
Now,
That was-
remember what I was saying. Remember what I was saying earlier when we introduced the Stern Gang. We talk about where does the clock start a lot of the time. By the way, I'm not necessarily saying that this is my opinion on where the clock starts,
Yeah.
but I think there's a pretty decent argument to be made that the clock for this conflict, becoming what it is, begins with the Stern Gang preventing the first true offer for peace between the groups. I think you can make that argument, and I think it's pretty solid.
It is, yeah, it does seem like a solid argument for the start
Now,
for
now,
that.
now, personally, again, I'm not sure I would start it there, but
Mm.
I would certainly respect that opinion. And if you started there, then it's pretty clear uh, how much of a villain role Israel has played.
Yep. Oh my god, it's super it's going to be forever confusing. to understand, forever confusing in this conflict. Like, which I do like the thing that I feel like we kind of agreed on this in our last episode of like, it's easier and a lot, and probably also a lot better to just pick, um, or to decide who currently has the moral high ground.
Yeah, I would more or less agree with that. I think that, and it's impossible to say anything about this conflict without oversimplifying it in a way that's a little unfair.
Yeah,
I think I would agree that Israel has currently lost the moral high ground. And when watching this episode of our show, you will probably think that they never had it. But I would advise everyone to watch the Palestine episode as well. But
very much recommend that. Check out my YouTube channel. I'll
yeah,
probably link it again.
yeah. But I think that oversimplifies it a little bit. But as far as the current situation goes, the way I look at it is, yes, Netanyahu has to go, and I partially expect more out of Israel because, okay, this might sound bad, but they're a more developed country. Women could drive there 20 years ago. I'm pretty
Yep.
sure off the top of my head that Gaza just started letting women drive without assistance from a man.
Yeah.
So I expect more out of Israel in that sense. Um,
The
but
theocracies are always
but but
terrible.
but but yeah, theocracies are. I mean, and Israel is in a way its own brand of theocracy.
Yeah.
So I look at the whole conflict, and there is still part of me that will look at Gaza and say, okay, that's a culture that just recently let women drive without permission from a man. You can't help but not want to give them the moral high ground. But then you look at the death toll, and especially over the last couple months, there's no denying who has done more damage lately.
Yeah, and even then, with the whole thing of understanding like the culture that the Gazan people do have, because usually it's because of like Islam and like Muslim, like the theocratic faith or government that it has with the Quran and everything. Like, oh my God, I
Well, I mean,
I hate religion.
it's not an excuse. The
It's not,
Muslim
no.
religion is incredibly fucking old. They've had
Yeah,
plenty of time to get over that shit. If we're not going to forgive Americans who believe dumb shit in 1950, we can't say, oh, well, Islam is this new young thing. It's not. It's significantly
it's
older.
yeah, it's so much older. I think the big difference, of course, like, and we can this could actually be another episode at one point, like the religion and how it's changed over the years. Um, uh, thing with Islam or Muslim culture and stuff like that with the religion. Um, the story is very much different for like their prophet and everything for like I'd have to double check it, but I remember like something about like he technically speaking Muhammad was never crucified the way Christ was, so there's a bit of a difference in terms of who how the leadership ended up going, and there's always an argument to be made that Christianity would become like Islam if whoever the religious leader back then wasn't crucified. Like there's arguments to
Right,
be made
right.
for that.
I think we should do an episode on that. That could be very interesting. I've got
Oh, very.
I've got like 10 thoughts racing in my head already, but we got to stay on topic.
Right, right,
So,
right. Fuck yeah.
all right,
Let me,
let's
let's finish off this
move on to
video
the next
first.
one.
Yeah, let's finish off the
All right,
video. It's almost done.
all right.
Stores from the UN archive. What interesting? Oh, never mind. It's just a. Okay, never mind. The video was done. It's just a. It was just an outro screen. Video was done. Okay.
All right.
What was the next thing? Was the next thing? Do we want Okay, if I oh, I can, yeah, I can also just go to what you did, memo Middle East Monitor, remembering the Zionist assassination of the UN Palestine mediator Count Bernadotte. Yeah,
Oh yes. All right. So let's read this. This was some more details that I thought was worthy of highlighting.
Yeah. Uh, okay, so what exactly? So yeah, what exactly happened? Uh, in May of 1948, as war raged between military forces of the budding Zionist state and the various Arab armies, the United Nations Security Council (UNSC) appointed as UN mediator in Palestine a Swedish diplomat named Count Folke Bernadotte. Uh, as a member of Sweden's royal family, Bernadotte had served as a diplomat during the Second World War, helping to free tens of thousands of prisoners held in Nazi Germany, and having attempted to negotiate an armistice between the Nazis and the Allies. So he had a history of being a good negotiator. His most notable
You know,
contribution.
pretty good friend to the Jewish people. Not to mention that.
Oh yeah, definitely. He took that diplomatic experience into the conflict over the creation of the state of Israel on the land of Palestine in the late 1940s, conducting mediation efforts and helping negotiate an initial truce in the conflict before that broke down shortly after. His most notable contribution, however, was the peace plan he worked on during the summer of 1948, following his appointment as UN mediator, in which he called for the establishment of a union between the Transjordan, currently Jordan, and British Mandatory Palestine, operating with certain areas allocated to Jews or Palestinians. So, was that? I'm guessing that's like that. That sounds a lot like one state solution, or is that a two state
I
solution? Would that be
mean,
considered a one state or a two state solution?
I think you could argue that's two state.
Yeah,
But
I
so
mean,
yeah,
then again, yeah, that does. Yeah,
so after after the war and the formation of Israel, uh, most of Israel's conflicts are with the neighboring countries. It's with Jordan, it's with Syria, it's with Egypt, etc.
yeah.
But the thing is, so the citizens of Palestine went to those countries, of course. In the case of Jordan, Jordan annexed a whole bunch of what used to be Palestine. And that's kind of I think I meant to bring that up in the other video. We could kind of go in either one. But that's an interesting hot button topic where Jordan annexes this land that used to be Palestine. And some people will tell you, oh, the Palestinians loved that. It was great. And some people will disagree with that. A Palestinian killed the king of Jordan in response to that. And, you know, ideologically, you can spin that story in a couple different directions. But
Sure
the
as heck doesn't
interesting
sound like they loved it.
yeah, exactly. So I think so to me, from the Israeli side, I kind of look at that and say, well, do you only care about annexing land when Jews do it? Because you don't seem to complain about Jordan doing it, and Palestinian people didn't seem to like it since they killed the king of Jordan in response.
Hmm.
But of course, another big thing there, of course, is not kicking people out of their homes, which is what happened in that process, allowing them to stay in their homes. So
Uh,
you can kind of spin that in a couple different directions.
an example of that plan included Palestinians controlling territories in the Negev or Negev desert, while the Galilee area would be controlled by the Jews. Some areas would be freely accessible to both, such as Haifa and its port, and the airport at Lod, now called Ben Gurion Airport. As for Jerusalem, it would be an international city controlled by the UN. That that does sound like a good deal, but
Mm.
this was rejected by all sides and prompted the conflict to resume once the truce validity ceased.
Well, that's one thing is the more you read this history, so many of the deals sound like good deals today because of the
Mm-hmm.
way it's all planned. The way it's all planned out. You go back and you look at half the deals, you'd say, "Wow, fuck, I'd make that deal today." But you know, it didn't fucking happen, and now we are where we are. That's not to say that they're fucking perfect deals, and you can understand why some of them were turned down. But they all look like pretty good deals today when you look at the current situation.
Uh, it says, and this one says, read IDF's violent origins and Israel's impunity. Do we want to look into that?
Nah,
Yeah, we'll skip past it for now. That should be fun.
let's get past it. All right.
Alright.
So what's next on the docket here?
Oh, okay. I at least want to see about the what happened next part, because like what
Right.
brought it on, and let's see what the what happened next part. Following the assassination, the new Israeli government finally declared Lehi a terrorist organization.
That's the Stern game. That's their other name. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was when they finally declared them a terrorist organization after they assassinated two international officials.
So it's
So that's the first
convenient.
one go. Let the
Convenient.
first one go. You know, just one international official before you get deemed a terrorist group.
Oh,
Second one, they're not going to let that go.
That's so convenient on their part. What loving guys right there.
Just two,
God.
man. Just two.
Just two. They disarmed what remained of the group, arrested around 200 members, and convicted some of the leadership. Whatever condemnation there was from the Israel side was short-lived, however, as authorities granted a general amnesty. There it is. To the Lehi members prior to the first Israeli elections in 1949. No members or leaders were charged in the involvement in the assassination or convicted either. Oh my god!
Now, so obviously not everyone, had any kind of punishment connected to the CERN gang. In a couple clicks from now, we're gonna see that one of them did pretty good for himself.
Oh no! I see his name.
We'll get to that in a minute. But one of the members of the CERN gang did not face severe punishment and did okay for himself. You'll see in a minute. Stay tuned. But all right. So what do we got next?
Next up, based on what you sent me here, the Deir Yassin massacre.
Yes. Now this is, of course, the UN releases their map that I forget the exact numbers, but it gives like Israel 52% of the land, and the rest of it goes to Palestine. And of course, the Israelis, largely the Stern gang, go around and start kicking people out. And this is the death toll in that process. This is the massacre that happens.
It took place on April 9th, 1948, when Zionist paramilitaries attacked the village of Deir Yassin near Jerusalem, killing at least 107 Palestinian villagers, including women and children. The attack was conducted primarily by the Irgun and Lehi, who were supported by the Haganah and the Palmach. The massacre.
The Haganah and the Palmach were the Yushuv authorities who were seen as not terrorist. Okay, that would be kind of like
Yes.
This isn't a perfect analogy, but it's the one that's popping into my head. This would be like if the FBI and Antifa or Proud Boys were like working together. And again, that's not a perfect analogy. That's
not perfect, but it's
the one that pops into my head.
It works. It works.
Sure.
Yeah, Haganah was the
right point across. In spite of the flaws, it gets the general point across. Yeah.
Yeah. Haganah was the main Zionist paramilitary organization. It says here, and the Palmach was the elite fighting force of the Haganah. Oh boy. Okay, that's what it says here. The massacre occurred during 1947-1948 Civil War in Mandatory Palestine. Is that what they were calling it during that time?
Yeah. So I believe the term Palestine begins under the Ottomans, because before the Ottomans had it, it was Egypt. So Egypt had it, then the Ottomans had it. I believe that's where the word Palestine reappears, because it had been Palestine some years before that too.
Yeah.
And then the period where England owns it after the war, they refer to it as mandated Palestine.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
more or less establishing that it's called Palestine, but England still technically owns it.
yeah. Mediterranean Palestine was a geopolitical entity that existed between 1920 to 1948 in the region of Palestine under the terms of the League of Nations Mandate of Palestine. Yeah. Okay. Uh, See, this is why I like Wikipedia. It makes sure it has all the links you need and go into either different pages and eventually go to the sources and find even more
Well,
info.
the complicated part with this conflict, though, is the sources are often not in English, which
Yep,
can be
that's the issue.
a bit on
So
the
you have
complicated
to
side.
so you'd have to trust you have to trust some of the translators.
Yes. All right. So Deir Yassin is what is the massacre that came out of the enforcement of the UN borders. So largely carried out by the Stern Gang. We got I think I left you some pictures there, right?
I have them say that wasn't it. That wasn't it. I know. I thought I opened them. Did
That's
I not open them?
that's okay. We can skip the pictures.
Oh no, I got it.
Let's
Okay, I have them.
yeah.
I have it here. Let me. That.
Yes. So these are the pictures that are most famous that tend to pop up in history books.
Yeah, that's not great.
No.
Uh,
All right. So moving on. So that's the gist of the Stern Gang. Those are the three bullet points: is the two assassinations and Deir Yassin. So right now you're all probably thinking, well, that was just a terrorist group, surely, and the Nation of Islam of Israel condemned them. So surely they never gained any sort of power, right? Like surely no one associated with it was like elected to government or something, right?
I have the Wikipedia for him open right now.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yitzhak
Wait a minute.
is
Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that a terrorist organization that killed two international leaders wasn't completely shunned from the country and the politics forever?
wow. It's wow, mind blow. Yitz Yitzhak Shamir, if I'm right, correct? It's
That sounds right. Yeah.
yeah. If I were to head back very quickly just to show what it is I am talking about when I said the whole thing. If we go back to the Middle East Monitor page, as I said, I saw his name in this, and holy shit. Uh, I'm gonna go for a very specific spot on this. In May of 1949, Israeli government even persisted in covering up the Stern Gang's involvement in killing, claiming in a report to the UN that no members have been tied to it. Despite that denial, several Lehigh members eventually came forward over the years, admitted their involvement over the statute of limitations for the murder expired in 1968. Only in 1977, around 9 years after expiration, was the first public admission of the organization's assassination of Bernadotte actually made. Leaders of Lehigh, which this is the Stern Gang again, remember that, had been allowed to enter and advance in Israel politics, taking up prominent roles such as our shining pile of shit, Yitzhak Shamir. God damn it. Oh my god.
There's
It's
Yep.
Jesus Christ. Becoming the future Israeli Prime Minister, Natan Yelin Mor becoming the future member of Israeli Knesset, and Yehoshua Cohen, the actual killer of Bernadotte, becoming the bodyguard of the Israeli Prime Minister, David Ben Gurion.
Yep.
Oh my god. This is fucking. I don't know.
mean,
I don't know. I don't understand how anyone who calls themselves Zionists right now could with they obviously don't know history if they still think they're in the right. Oh my god. That's
I mean,
so
yeah.
fucked.
Now I can understand thinking, all right, I'm Jewish. Israel is a Jewish state. I support its right to exist, but to completely jump on this ideology and the history of the ideology, and quite frankly, in my opinion, there's never been a totally moderate voice for the Israelis, nor has there certainly not been a moderate voice for the Palestinians. But like I said, they're our ally, so we expect more from them.
Right? Oh my god. I this ha my very much neurodivergent brain is having one hell of a dance of juices and shocks just
All right. Click
in
on
learning this.
click on the next link.
Next link, that was which one was that one? That was Israeli the Quibia massacre.
That's right.
Let me see which one is that one. Yep, this one. This one is
All right.
coming from the chat. This one's coming from the channel Disclosed Concealment. Give them some love. Thank you.
All right. So I'm gonna head out for 1 sec. I'll be right back. There's not much to say about this. It's pretty straightforward. Just a little piece of history people should know.
The 1953 Kibia massacre was where IDF troops under Ariel Sharon killed at least 69 Palestinian villagers, two-thirds women and children.
So 69 women and children, 69 people were 2/3 of them were women and children. Fun. Total. Haha.
45 homes, a school, and a mosque were destroyed. The attack began with a mortar barrage on the village. The IDF deployed explosive charges to breach the barbed fence and mined roads to prevent Jordanian forces from intervening.
So they. Oh my god. This is getting. Oh. I had 3 weeks, I think 4 at this point, where I was preparing myself for the worst. I didn't think it would get this bad in terms of understanding. Oh my god.
At the same time, at least 25 mortar shells were fired into Budris, a neighboring village, before IDF troops simultaneously entered the village from 3 sides. Ariel Sharon wrote, "The orders were clear. Kibia was to be an example for everyone."
Bruh. What
Yep.
what was that I'm only about a little less than a minute into the video. The orders were clear. Kibia was to be an example for everyone.
Correct.
Bruh, what was how many weeks ago was the last episode?
I think it was 3 as opposed to
3.
our usual 2. Yeah.
Yeah, so about 3. Yeah, so about 3 weeks of a bit of a hiatus before we finally got to this. I thought I was prepared. I thought I was ready. Just like, okay, with the Palestinian things, that was really bad. They did a lot of really bad things, but I was able to get through it and understand like what the issue was, what was the reasonings, at least the understanding of like where their mindset was. I was like, I bet I can easily get through this one. That let's say I'm losing my mind. This
I
is
think the next one. I think you're actually going to lose your mind on the next one. But
Original
Yeah. So you know what's very noticeable if you compare the Palestinian episode and the Israeli episode is it's very clear from like the late 18th century up until I don't know 1930 or so. I think that most people would argue that the Palestinians did more bad things. I mean, you got Theodore Herzl establishing nationalism, but that hasn't transpired to any kind of physical violence, or not a lot of physical violence. And then the tables really turn, as you get close to the Civil War. And I think the easiest explanation is, it's true about power dynamics. Whoever has the most power is going to be the most evil. From late 18th century till, I don't know, 1930 something, the Palestinians ruled as the majority group. So it
Yeah.
was easier for them to commit more violence. And
Yes.
post World War II, the Israelis had the backing of the West and had physical power, so it was easier for them to be the evil one. And I think there's a lot of truth to that in life, where whoever has the most might is going to be the most wicked.
Yep. Which is why I'm always I'm always an advocate for trying to learn about rehabilitation and understanding and trying to be a little bit more distribution of powers and money type of thing. It's why I have my
Right.
views. It's why I have my views as a libertarian socialist. If which some people say is an oxymoron, but if we can get that's a different thing entirely. That would take an entire fucking day just to discuss. Um, God. Okay. Let's see if I can get through this Kibia massacre video. Let's see if we can get through it entirely. I'm only a minute. I'm again less than a minute in, and I'm already fucking losing my shit.
Showed that Sharon personally ordered his troops to achieve maximal killing and damage to property,
Oh my god.
and post-operational reports speak of breaking into houses and clearing them with grenades and shooting.
Maximal killing and destruction to proper. the and this wasn't on a military. This wasn't on military targets. This was civilians.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Aftermath.
The villagers crept out of the grass, looking desperately for loved ones. They crowded around a young girl whose body sprawled grotesquely, forefinger raised to the heavens. Israel
Jesus
claimed
Christ.
the attack was in retaliation to the killing of 3 Israelis in the town of Yehud.
Okay, did we talk about Yehud a killing in Yehud in the last episode?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, because uh I don't know if you're hearing the video as well or anything. Or just
No, I'm
waiting.
not hearing the video, but yeah,
You
I know
you
we
know
didn't
of it.
talk about it in the last one. No.
Yeah, because they said that the Kibia mask, because apparently Israel said that it was in retaliation for the killing of 3 Israeli people in the town of Yeha, or I think that's how they said it.
Yeah, and I think you can point to this as one of the primary examples where I once heard someone had an analogy that the Israel Palestinian conflict is kind of like someone walks up to you and stabs you with a pin, and then you shoot them in the face with a gun. I feel like that's often true. I feel like this is one of the best examples of that.
Yeah, where or of course there's always those like political comics where it shows a kid throwing a rock and then a nuke gets launched at them.
Sure.
That
Sure.
yeah, I
And that has happened in this conflict. Now, to be clear, that doesn't, as we established in our last episode, there's plenty of instances where the Palestinians are as evil as can be, and as evil
yeah,
as the fucking Zionists are.
they did the wrong just as
It's
much.
always important. It's always important. See, this is why it can be challenging for people to be objective, but you have to. Is you got to look at each situation case by case and kind of say, okay, this side was wrong here, that side was wrong there,
Yeah.
and you can keep score if you want to, but you've got to be objective on each individual case. And this
Yeah.
was one where Israel was clearly in the wrong.
Very much so. It's the God. Oh my God. I don't know if you actually. I don't know if you like tune into my streams or anything like that. Whenever I do like the all black everythings.
I'll usually watch some of it.
Yeah.
And,
There's.
and if those guys watch our podcast more and more, I'll watch more and more of that.
Yeah. I'll make sure to let them know. Like I need more people to
Okay.
view this. Um.
For sure.
But I remember specific. It'll connect. It'll connect here. I remember specifically had a discussion about some black celebrities and stuff, and just the general gist of like, is it okay to hit someone back for a dude to hit a woman back if she attacks him first, kind of a thing. It was, you know, with the whole feminist ideal of like equality, you know, equal rights, equal lefts, that whole joke.
Sure.
And it was what was the terminology that we used? Levels. It was like levels of retaliation, like how much force should you put into into firing back if you're the bigger
Sure.
person.
Sure, I always use the term excessive force a lot.
There
you
it
know,
is.
which is usually a police term, and you know there isn't an exact science to it. You know, we talk about. I think you're right. I think the best way to look at this conflict is kind of go, who most recently lost the moral high ground and why. And for the last, 70 years, whoever lost the moral high ground was the one who most recently used excessive force or, overreacted to what happened previously.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not an exact science. Society will never come up with a definitive answer for what is excessive force in a military situation. But I think your kind of personal instincts on what was excessive force is kind of a way to look at this situation to say that side most recently fucked up.
Yeah. And if I Oh my God. And yeah, this definitely was, yeah, excessive force was the term was the term I was looking for. Uh because yeah, like Israel's obviously so much bigger at this so much bigger. There's no reason that it God, it's so disheartening whenever I see this shit happen, whenever I see this shit happening. And oh my God, learning history is fun. Learn Ah, okay, let's continuing the video.
You sure you're good?
Yeah.
However, the United
Okay,
Nations
let's go.
Observer Team's investigation failed to find any evidence indicating who committed the crime, and the Jordan
This is why we can talk on it, because the United Nations could never show that Palestinians were the ones that did it. Like there was there was no proof that it was ever done by Palestinians.
Jordanian delegate to the Mixed Commission condemned the act in strong language 2 days after the incident.
The lies and cover-ups.
Because of unprecedented international backlash, even from the U.S., Israel needed to come up with a cover story.
Oh, so so America did have a fucking heart. It's even the U.S. said, "Hey, you guys are going a little too far here for this."
Yeah, we've done that a couple times. Just a couple.
But now, no, fucking man, God damn it! I'm so okay. My heart can deal with it. I'm gonna continue. This is gonna be good content.
You got this, bro. You got
Moshe
this.
Sharett, the second prime minister of Israel, said that claiming the Israeli army had no part in the massacre would be ridiculous, and that any child would say that this was a military operation. Yet, Ben-Gurion asserted exactly that. Israel also played every possible card.
Wait a minute. Okay, so we're talking Ben-Gurion, who was the prime minister at the time, right? I need to rewind and hear that again.
Story.
Correct. He was prime minister.
Moshe Sharett, the second Prime Minister of Israel,
Wait.
come up with a cover story. Moshe Sherrod, the second
Moshe Sherrod. I think that's what he said. The second second prime minister in Israel at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Prime Minister of Israel, said that claiming the Israeli army had no part in the massacre would be ridiculous and that any child would say that this was a military operation. Yet, Ben-Gurion asserted exactly that. Israel also played every possible card to try to divest responsibility from the Kibbutz massacre. They claimed the West did not verify the death count/destruction and fell for
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yep.
Oh my god! They use the fascist authoritarian handbook. They didn't even happen. I know, no, totally. Is that? Oh, wait, I think that's the Narcissist Bible, if I'm remembering correctly. It never happened. Even if it did happen, with whatever.
By the way, speaking of Israeli prime ministers, seventh prime minister of Israel. Just do a quick Google search on the seventh prime minister of Israel.
Arab.
Okay, let me real fast do that Google search. I'm gonna do it not on this screen because my search history might look weird to certain people.
Oh, get some furry porn going on, something weird like that.
Strangely, I don't do Google for that. That's on my Discords.
Oh, there we go. That's smart.
Yeah.
You know, I started using DuckDuckGo for safety a while back, but what people don't talk enough about is how DuckDuckGo fucking sucks as a search engine.
Right.
It's like, hey, apparently you're not spying on us, but you suck at what you do.
Oh. Oh, the seventh. What the seventh was? Yitzhak Shamir.
That's right. Anyways,
Oh.
just wanted just couldn't help but point that out to people.
Yeah,
Just a fun fucking reminder.
Yeah, and just so you know, I looked it up. So no one can tell me I didn't look it up. Here it is.
That's right. That's it.
Seventh Prime Minister.
All right.
Sorry, I had to get that
Oh.
back. Okay, let's continue the video. Chapter 1 didn't even happen, is what they said.
Propaganda. However, the UN visited the village, counted the dead, and collected testimonies regarding the IDF's involvement. They blamed the West of anti-Semitism by bringing...
I want to scream my goddamn head off. Oh my god. Oh. What's it?
You okay, bro? You okay? History dark, man.
It's not just the history is dark. It's that it repeats. It repeats. And it repeats. Oh my god. They claimed anti-Semitism when people called out their bullshit. Which is exactly what they're doing right the fuck now. Oh my god. I'm gonna go get some water real quick. We're gonna pause for a hot second. I'm gonna get some water. I will be right back. Here,
All right. I'll entertain the chat for a minute.
I was gonna put some jazz music on the intermission scene if you also want to get water too. But you
you can do jazz music.
Would you rather do the intermission? Would you rather put me to have me put an intermission, or do you want to entertain the chat with a little bit more history?
All right, give them a fucking intermission.
Yeah.
But all right, cool.
Yeah, we'll be right back after these mind-losing messages. Have a good. We'll be back.
Do 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 do.
we're back.
All right, so what kind of jazz music was that? I couldn't hear. Was it Charlie Parker? Was it more like Bill Evans, or was it more like Kenny G?
I can't I'm not really sure. It's like the generic copyright free stuff that you can find on YouTube's library. Um, I have it set to my intermission screen because I just like the idea of having some nice smooth jazz playing. I'm not sure who it was though. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, smooth jazz. Fuck that shit. But no, something you probably wouldn't have guessed about me. I'm a huge fucking jazz guy. I know jazz history up and fucking down. All right.
I do like jazz too. It's fun to listen to when you just need to focus on some work or whatever, and that's just me. I'm not huge into the history or names, but yeah. Okay, that little side tangent off.
So just to be clear, the greatest jazz musician of all time is a Muslim, and that's John Coltrane.
I always thought the best jazz musician would have been a black man.
I mean, John Coltrane was a black man. He was a Malcolm X Muslim. He was not
okay.
Muslim. Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. That was say because I remember like a lot of like the blues and jazz comes from black culture, so I was like, ooh, that's okay.
Well, blues comes first. So blues comes first. So really, it all kind of comes from. Oh, this is a fun fucking topic that we can do one day in its entirety.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So early days of America is like what's popular is like marching band music. And that's because the Ottomans ruled the world at that time. So it's like Ottoman Turkish marching music.
Is that what you consider the Civil War music, the marching band music?
Oh, that traces back to the Ottomans, absolutely.
Shit.
And then blues and jazz and ragtime are kind of like marching band music with different instruments mixed in with like black church influences. So it's like a cross between it's like the shitty marching band music at that time mixed with like black church music, and it all kind of merged into those three genres.
We're definitely gonna need to get we're definitely gonna need like a decompressing episode where we just do an episode on like on like the history of music from marching band to jazz at least.
Well, I mean, it's a Pangea. Like you can go all the way back. I believe the first officially like documented song, I believe, is a Middle Eastern song, actually.
Huh.
Like I think it's like a Middle Eastern pan flute piece of some kind.
Oh well, yeah, we're definitely gonna need to have like a music week, just like just do history of music and everything.
All right. So where were we?
Okay, so back to this.
You were bracing yourself for more of this video.
Yes. Okay. Because they so to small recap, only been a minute or two, but it's just small recap. The exact same argument that Israel and its defenders are currently using. I'll have to call her back. The exact same argument that Israel. It's my grandma. It's God damn it.
Well, my grandma just turned 100. I mean, is yours?
I think she's 79.
Well, she's not that special then.
I know she doesn't watch my videos, so that's fine. So we're good. So
I'm sure your grandmother's amazing. Keep going.
Okay. So the exact same argument that Israel's defenders are using today against people who are siding with Palestine of, oh, you're just anti-Semitic for saying that we're doing these things, or you're just anti-Semitic for calling us out and stuff like that. They used it on the Kibbutz massacre. I'm so fucking blown back by the fact that the fucking time is a circle. I hate it. Let's continue. Let's see what other excuses or cover-ups did they have. Let's hear it.
Up the Yehud killings. However, there was no evidence of Kibiya's involvement in those killings. They claimed terrorists hid amongst the civilian population.
I'm gonna throw my fucking desk. I'm gonna. They. Oh my god! History repeats itself. Same reasonings. Literally everything. They say they're using human. They use human shields.
Now, this is the thing. There's no doubt in my mind that there's truth to the human shield shit. The question is to what extent, and I don't exactly fucking know. And it's not an excuse for the excessive force that we see over and over and over again. Like the human shield is so. For example, in modern day, in today's times, you can talk about human shields all you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Israel stopped defending itself a couple months ago. Like you're not defending yourself at this point. The human shields are just they're just not a fucking excuse at this point.
Yeah, no.
And that's the case there too. Like I don't believe the human shields is a myth. Like make no mistake of that. I don't believe.
Oh no, it's that's a thing that happens.
But is it a fucking excuse for all this shit? No, it's not.
Oh my god. Okay, if the next thing I hear is let's hear what the next thing is. Oh my god. Let's hear what the next thing is. Let's see what they say.
Which were blatant lies. Hartz claims that since the Kibiya massacre, distortions and whitewashing have become...
Okay, they didn't add more. There was but bruh. all the same arguments that they're still using to this day. Oh my god.
Become standard practice by Israeli officials.
It does not change. Cue Matthew McConaughey and True Detective saying time is a flat circle.
I'm God damn it! Now I gotta edit slightly and find that clip and fucking add it in here.
Or you could just upload True Detective season 1 in its entirety and just be enjoyable. You can just go ahead and do that.
Yes, that too. But I probably am gonna find that clip though and see if I can edit that into here. I'll see if I can find that clip for later. Okay.
All right. What's next?
Result and legacy. Kibiya.
What ended up happening? The United Nations Security Council adopted Resolution 101 expressing the strongest possible censure of the Kibiya massacre.
Resolution 101, the strongest censure of the Kibiya massacre.
However, although the lies were revealed over time, not a single person involved in the massacre or its cover-up was ever tried, despite the U.S.'s claim that those responsible should be brought to account and that effective measures should be taken to prevent such incidents in the future.
So, empty words said by the U.S. back in the day still of they should be held to account for what they did, and nobody was brought in or tried for what fucking happened in Kibiya. And even though the U.S. said that they would want to make sure that it happened, empty fucking words, just like today, where it's empty fucking words. Oh my god. I am so...
Instead, Ariel Sharon became the prime minister, and Mayor Hart.
All right. Let's move on to the next one.
Yep. Hold on. Just this last bit. Instead,
hold on. Before we move on, real quick.
Yeah.
Is anyone in the chat saying anything interesting?
No. Okay. So it appears that if I can say words. the 20 that showed up, it was someone using view bots on me, even though I didn't
Oh.
want that. Unfortunate, but whatever. We'll see comment sections appear. The comment section appear much later when I upload this.
All right, all right.
I'm
Well, that's
definitely
interesting.
gonna be uploading this, and then when I'm finally free from my little lockdown on Twitter, I'm gonna be posting it on there. Just like, I need you all to understand, time is a flat circle.
And then you can have a Rust Cole GIF right below.
Oh no, you say GIF. Oh,
Wait, is it GIF, GIF, whatever the fuck it is?
it's supposed to be GIF.
I don't know, man. I'm old. I'm older than you.
You
Back.
you and my girlfriend do that.
Oh, it's not just great. It's not just great minds that think alike.
Okay.
Incidents in the future. Instead, Ariel Sharon became the prime minister, and Mayor Har Zion, another commander,
Ariel Sharon became the prime minister instead.
became an Israeli hero on whose principles today's commanders are being raised.
Oh no. And then so basically the people who did it, it's like one became prime minister and the other one is a hero that the Israeli people follow his example. Oh my god.
Always how it goes.
Do not think, oh Prophet Allah is unaware of what a wrongdoer. Okay, and then disclosed concealment just like puts in a verse from the Quran in at the end here. Oh boy. Oh god, that was painful. That hurt.
Okay, wait till you get on. Is the Levon affair the next thing?
The Viana affair, yeah, the Levant affair to kill Westerns in Egypt to sow
Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go.
regional
So this
conflict.
is all right. All right. So I think you might blow your brains out at the end of this one here.
Oh,
So no, I'm serious. I'm serious. Like, are you alone right now?
I'm going to I'm gonna hold Mjolnir. I by the power of Asgard, give me strength. Fucking hell.
Yeah, yeah. Like, remove all sharp objects.
Don't worry, this is a blunt object.
Okay, but there's no sharp objects in your vicinity.
I have a fork from my spaghetti, but it's still in my spaghetti, and I'm gonna move that over there. I think I'll be
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Get rid of that. Like, bend your fork so that it can't stab you in any capacity.
God. Okay. Israel's
Okay,
1954 Levant affair to kill Westerners and Egypt to sow regional conflict.
Okay, so before we watch this, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. I was just looking for something that was podcast accessible, and he sums up this situation very, very well in just a minute or two. So here's some rando I've never heard of explaining this affair perfectly.
His name apparently is Dr. Ali Atai, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Oh, doctor, very special.
Something happened in 1954 that I think we should be aware of. We should not forget these moments in history. This is something that's thrown down the rabbit hole of history. It's called the Levant affair, named after the former Israeli defense minister, Pinhas Lavon. So this was an attempted false flag operation, codenamed Operation Susanna, carried out by Israeli spies in Egypt in 1954.
So it was an attempted. So it's an attempted false flag, by Israeli spies. Oh god.
So these Zionist Israeli agents in Egypt
Keep
planted bombs in busy civilian areas in Cairo and Alexandria, where Americans and the British would often visit, like movie theaters and libraries. The plan was to commit terrorism by killing civilians, especially Americans, and then blame Egyptian Muslims in order to cause tensions between Egypt and the West. The plan fell apart, and the Zionist spies were caught and then confessed The Lavon Affair.
Oh God. The power of Asgard has protected me.
So
Thank
far.
you. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, so that small little short. I, thank God it was more. It was a little bit less than I thought. But so Israel Zionists legitimately planned to kill Americans just so that we would have tension against Egyptian Muslims.
Correct. You anti-Semitic piece of shit. How dare you repeat such things?
Oh, right. Oh my. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I shall. Yeah.
But here's the thing: is this is true. This is undeniably fucking true. Now, what gets complicated about this is yes, we have moments in history like this with Israel, but of course, we all know the history of anti-Semitic conspiracy theories.
Uh-huh.
So every once in a while, you meet a leftist who is educated on the topic, and this is an excuse to come up with every insane anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that they can think of.
Oh boy.
You know, this one turned out to be true. Therefore, October 7th didn't happen, or whatever the fuck they come up with.
Yeah.
At the same, but at the same time, this did fucking happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that really sucks about complicated issues like this is you can't just kind of make up your mind in real time. Like the clear picture is going to take at least months. It's actually going to take years, but a reasonable picture is probably going to take weeks or months. I mean, just think about since October 7th, how many stories have come and gone. You have the hospital story where we're told that Israel blows up a hospital, and that turned out to not exactly be true. Or we're told that Hamas raped every woman who ever fucking lived in Israel, and that turns out to not be true.
At all.
It just the story changes every 2 fucking seconds.
Yep. With the way the internet is nowadays, it's like everyone is just fucking the immediate concluder instead of wait for more information. John's fucking hell.
Right.
Uh, what was it? What was next up? The Baghdad bombing. I was right to put that Wikipedia up on there.
Yeah. So this is one I have. This is one I read about in the Tesla book, and I think I read about in another book somewhere before. I've definitely heard of it in a couple different places, but there's next to nothing of it online, so we're resorted to Wikipedia.
Yep.
But we have an instance where something similar to the Lavon affair, where some Jewish people were killed in Iraq. The Iraqi government wound up convicting 2 Zionists for the crime. There's still speculation if it's true or not. I don't, to be honest, I don't know the evidence very thoroughly. But with the Lavon affair, I think there's a pretty decent chance that it's true.
Sorry, I was sneezed. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, the Baghdad bombings were in 1950 and 1951. So this was just a little bit before the Levant affair.
Yes.
Okay. So, oh boy. Uh,
Now,
the
remember,
controversy.
Iraq at this time is very much it's kind of a safe haven for Muslims at that point.
Yeah,
It's kind of like, for lack of a better description, it's kind of like the Muslim Israel at this point in time.
makes sense. 1950, 1951 Baghdad bombings were a series of bombings of Jewish targets in Baghdad, Iraq, between April 50th and June 1950. It's a, yeah 1950s, April 1950 and June of 1951. Between those times, there's a controversy around the true identity and objective of the culprits behind the bombings, and the issue remains unresolved. According to whom? Like the
Yeah, see, this story is just kind of a passing thing in a couple history books, and googling it, this was the best I could find was wiki, which is very mysterious and doesn't go into any kind of detail.
yeah, even in like on the wiki here, like I could click the according to whom. In fact, I want to see what that is. Uh, unsupported attributions. Some people. Uh, this gave me a thing for weasel words. This gave me a thing about weasel words or whatever. Okay, whatever. Weird. Uh, two activists in the Iraqi Zionist underground were found guilty by the Iraqi court for a number of the bombings and were sentenced to death. Another was sentenced to life imprisonment, and 17 more were given long prison sentences. The allegation against Israeli agents had wide consensus amongst Iraqi Jews in Israel. Many of the Iraqi Jews in Israel who lived in poor conditions blamed their ills and misfortune on the Israeli Zionist emissaries or Iraqi Zionist underground movement. So, uh, it appears like it's looking like even back then there were Jewish people who were like, "Can we just please have peace?" But Zionists were saying basically, "No, we're gonna do all that we can to fuck everything up." Like, holy shit, that's what it feels like to me.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a pretty fair summary.
Yeah. Uh, which again is why it's really fucking disheartening whenever I see any kind of leftists spewing anti-Semitic shit and blaming all Jews for what the Zionists have been doing.
Sure. Well, I mean, that was one thing that made today kind of an inconvenient landing spot for this episode. Was today we also have the stuff from Colombia. Now I have mixed emotions about this. I'm sure there's some genuine protesters there and whatnot, but I've seen a couple of videos that are pretty fucking heinous. That I would more or less describe as anti-Semitism at the end of the day.
Yeah, because a lot of this is what's super like disheartening about when it comes like the internet stuff and everything. You would think like with all the information at the tip of your fingers at all times, uh, people would have the ability to do what we're doing. We're looking into to a little bit of the history, understanding who the actual issue is supposed to be with. But instead,
Right.
people are
Well,
just stupid.
what really pisses me off about when I see college kids talking about this, and regardless of what side they're on, and let's be honest, more college kids are on the Palestinian side.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that most of them don't know any of the shit we've talked about in either of these two videos. Like what I hear over and over again is the same sociological talking points that you
Yep.
can just kind of apply to everything. And
Mhm.
it drives me insane. I mean, you can have whatever view you want, but at least know the history a little bit.
Right? Yeah, no, like there's a reason why I uh stay out of different threads like that because I know I'm ignorant on a lot of the issues. So I don't want to just hop in there saying I want good things to be good and then get a bunch of Zionist and pro-Palestinian people attacking me, not understanding what side I'm on. 'Cause, like,
Right.
I
Well, I think one thing that works about this podcast and why we've gotten along so well is that's how I view you as a generally honest person who comes into a convo understanding what they do and do not know. Like if you're an expert on a convo, I feel like you enter it talking as an expert. If you don't know a lot, I feel like you enter it kind of admitting that you don't know a lot and kind of looking to have an honest conversation. And that's how I try to be, and I hope that I am. And I think
so
that's
far, yeah,
why
I've been.
we've gotten along. I think that's why we've gotten along so well.
Yeah.
Because
No,
that's
like
because that's a disturbingly rare thing.
Yeah, no, and hence why the name of this show is No Man's Land, because it's obvious that people are constantly warring in their own little trenches, and the dead zone, and everyone calls No Man's Land, is unoccupied. So we're just here, so we're here having the conversation that no one wants to.
Absolutely. Well, I forget who it was, but someone has a famous quote about Orwell, where they said, you know, I met Orwell recently, and the truly inspiring thing about him is that he's not a genius. He's not, you know, intimidatingly smart. What he is honest. And I think that's something to aspire to.
Yeah, as long as you're honest, you'll always come off a lot smarter than you actually are.
Well, I can tell you, and I'm sure you'll feel the same way. Like, I feel like every time that I've really kicked someone's ass in a debate, which is never my intention, by the way. I'm always looking to have a conversation. But whenever I feel like I fucking humiliated someone, it was because I felt that I was being honest, and they were forcing themselves to hold the view that they don't actually fucking hold.
Oh man,
And I think that's
people's egos get in the way of so much shit. Like that's an ego. That's like an ego thing that people have
oh,
where
for sure.
if they've been if they were thoroughly told off, like here's the info, here's all the data you need to know about this, and here's like the best way to do the things or how to look at this, instead of
Right.
acknowledging it, people just immediately shut down. They would rather shut
Oh
down
yeah.
or just, yeah, like I said, they
Oh
entrench
yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. They just they belong to a side, and they've got to represent their side,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all they can think in that moment.
it's it's why it's so hard for me to have any kind of like join any side whenever I see mutuals having arguments on Twitter. I'm just like, I don't know any information on this. I'm not saying shit. Uh
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's very easy to spot. It takes about 2 fucking seconds to recognize someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. And it's just, you know, talking and
yeah.
has some vague idea of what the right rhetorical phrases are to get an applause line.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I feel like you know, it kind of seems like we're getting off topic a little bit, but we're
A little
actually
bit.
perfectly on topic because this is the best example of a topic where, you know, it's one of the most complicated uh, conflicts in human history. Yet at the same time, it's very easy to just either ramble about colonizing or to just kind of ramble about terrorism and
Oh yeah.
satisfy your team.
Yeah, because it'll uh yeah, you could, yeah, because obviously with like the pro-Palestinian side, unfortunately there's a lot of like, they're basically college age, but they never went to college. People who are on Twitters, and a lot of also teenagers who are still in high school who are pro-Palestinian as well, who they basically pick up talking points from like two or three YouTubers who happen to be left leaning, but are also very fucking stupid. Um,
Right, right.
and they'll pick up the all the taglines: colonialism, colonization, imperialism, America bad. I mean, I agree
Right.
with the
Well,
last
all right,
one, but
all right, all right. So I kind of feel like so I kind of feel like I'm off a little bit throwing this one into the equation out. There's a video I wanna send to you right now. We can watch it now. And the
okay.
reason I feel off is because it's an anti pro-Palestinian side. Like, I'm criticizing the pro-Palestinian side here, and this is supposed to be our video
On
against
Israel, yeah,
Israel. But it just came out today. So let me hold on. Let me find it. Let me send it to you.
yeah. We can go real fast, and heck, it might even like it might add to this topic in general at all. Anyway.
Yeah.
Effects on Iraqi Jewish.
All right, one sec.
There's been a debate. I'm still like looking into the responsibility for the bombings, for the Baghdad bombings. Is to grant newly created state of Israel, whether they will work.
All right, so I just sent a video to you. This was apparently last night.
Oh,
I don't know. You may or may not have seen this, but I'm curious about your reaction to it.
It's not coming up, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not coming up.
It's not coming up.
Yeah, every time I open it up, it's telling me like page does not exist.
Huh?
Unfortunately.
It's weird. Well, you know, it's funny. I have I have family members who I have a group chat with where we kind of discuss and debate politics, and
Nice.
I sent this into that group chat, and some people could see it, some people couldn't.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can do a.
Oh, you know what it might be?
thing.
I suspect I could be wrong. I think Twitter has recently made it so that you can't view things unless you're logged in. So
I'm logged.
because you're suspended, can you not look at it right now?
Oh no, I'm able to look at things, but I can't.
Right.
I just can't like or retweet anything right now or respond. So I'm gonna look up I'm gonna look up the page real quick. All right, I need to shut that down. Nuria Cross. Oh, not. Is that the right cross? Okay, media. Which one would it be? Oh, which one would it be? Oh, not her pinned. Cause I have the journalist up here. Is it the is it the one about the one at Columbia University? You still there? God damn, he wasn't. There you are. I was like, were you still there? It's like, okay.
All right. So I exited out. All right. So have you seen it yet?
Not yet. I'm just double checking to be sure. Is it the crazy scene at Columbia University?
Yes.
Okay. Let me go ahead and get that. Let me go ahead and get that full screen so everyone can check this out. Oh. First. Okay, I'm gonna read the caption and then we'll watch. Crazy scene tonight at Columbia University. Jewish students came to the campus and then this happened. The undergrad who filmed it told me, "We didn't say a word. My friend had a Jewish star necklace. All of us were surrounded. They've been circling us, threatening us." Okay. It might be a hard watch, but here we go.
Attention, everyone. Can I get everyone to form a human chain right here, please? We have Zionists that have entered the camp. Mind check! Repeat after me. We have Zionists. Who have entered the camp. We are going to create a human chain. Where I am standing. So that they do not pass this point. And infringe upon our privacy. And try to destruct our community. Please join me in this chain.
You see how hostile this is? And you're asking me not to record?
Walk and take a step forward.
Yeah, I absolutely feel threatened right now.
So that we can start to push them out of the camp. One step forward. Another step forward.
Oh my god. The cringe. Ow.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, first of all, it looks like a cult to me. Like
It's
just the repeating back, like it's just so fucking creepy.
I was having a feeling the entire time. Ugh. Okay.
So if the description is being 100% honest, and that's the reaction to someone just showing that they're a fucking Jew and not doing anything, that's that's pretty fucking horrendous. That's a pretty big red flag.
It
If
very much
that's
is. And if I were to tie this back, if I were to somehow tie this back into today's issue, I would say that Israel is very much a becoming at fault for a lot of this type of reaction because Israel has done everything they can in their power to tie Zionists and Jew together with like to where you can't be Jewish without being seen as a Zionist.
See, I disagree with you on that one, simply because to me the main thing at fault here, and we can get into this when we do a wokeness episode,
Yeah.
is and we were talking about this early in this episode with Herzl's play. This idea that you belong to a collective and you are to be judged as a collective is the main way you teach people to not be racist. You teach people to not be racist by teaching them that each person is an individual and you do not view them for the sins of their collective. These are a group of people viewing this Jewish person hypothetically for the sins of their collective,
Mm.
which is how you fucking reach that. And we've had like I don't know 6, 7, 8, 10 years of the left starting to teach us that no, you do judge people for the sins of their collective.
It
And I've been saying for years, this is what that can do.
Yeah, it ends up causing a lot of bullshit to end up happening, especially with uh this, which is another reason why I absolutely hated how I had an entire day where I was called a lot of fucking terrible slurs because I dared to say, "Hey, racism of any kind is bad. Don't just hate random white people." I'm a black dude saying that, so you would think it's like, hey, maybe don't do the thing that they expect us to do, so that so that the supremacists can't use us as ammo. That'd be wonderful. Thanks.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to do. So did you see the clip of Coleman Hughes on The View like a few weeks ago?
I haven't watched The View in years.
Okay, but do you know who Coleman Hughes is?
Clint Hughes. No.
Okay, so Coleman Hughes has become kind of the most popular young black person who's very on the anti-woke side. And he's kind of people view him as a conservative. I don't know where he stands issue by issue, but most of his content is very on the anti-woke side, so it's easy to call him a conservative. So he recently went on The View and talked a lot about his hatred of woke culture, for lack of a better word. And at some point, he kept saying, "All right, I've read MLK's book. MLK says this, that, and the other." And a couple years ago, I decided to read MLK's work. I didn't read all his books, but I read a few of them, and it really warrants a long discussion because he doesn't. If he were alive today, and we were to assume that he believed everything he believed back then and said everything that he said back then, he wouldn't fit perfectly into a box
Yeah.
into today's political landscape, which is just such an interesting discussion to get into. So he had a back and forth with Sonny Hostin of The View. What's so funny is it's so obvious that he's Red King and Sonny Hostin is not, but Sonny Hostin is yet just so fucking condescending towards him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could be an interesting video because again, I don't think King. A lot of conservatives want you to think that King would be a Republican. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. No,
But
he
he
wouldn't be.
definitely doesn't fit into the quote unquote woke box either. In fact, he's got an entire chapter against the Black Power movement that that sounds like a damnation of Black Lives Matter if you were to put it into today's context. But ultimately, when you talk about people from the past, who the fuck knows what they would say if they had lived another 20, 30, 40 years
Yeah,
and
there's
evolved with the world? Who the fuck knows what they would say?
there's a very strong chance that there definitely is a very strong chance that he more than likely would condemn quite a bit of BLM protests and Antifa counter protesters, because of his very much pacifist views on a lot of things. He does understand though but he at the same time would understand the riots. He would say you shouldn't do it, but I understand what you're doing.
All right. Well, I feel like this can be
Yeah.
a separate episode because we're almost venturing off into a separate episode. So we'll call it
True.
soon. But real quick, we can save this for another day. What's very interesting, the famous quote about rioting. Do you remember exactly what it is? It's something like rioting is the voice of the unheard or some shit like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, riots are the voice of the unheard. Yeah.
Something along those lines. So in one of his books, I believe it's Where Do We Go From Here? So I've actually read the chapter where he says that. And anyone who knows his writing, have you read his work at all?
MLK's.
Most people haven't. Most people
Yeah,
haven't.
no.
It's okay if you haven't.
I'm the
Yeah. I mean, everyone has a vague idea of his worldview and his history, but like no one sits down and fucking reads it.
Yeah.
So what's funny is when you read his work, the way he writes is he will establish his opinion. He'll say how much he disapproves of rioting and nonviolence, and that'll go for like 20, 30 fucking pages. And then he'll say, but we must understand our brothers who feel the need to riot. And then there'll be like 20 pages explaining why we must respect and understand those who want to riot.
Our nuanced king.
And so it's so fucking easy to take a quote out of context
Mm-hmm.
and present it as the opposing opinion.
Yeah.
That famous quote, rioting is the voice of the unheard, or whatever the fuck it is. Like literally the next fucking paragraph, he compares rioters to small children throwing a temper tantrum in public so their parents will pay attention to them.
Oh yeah, no, that's yeah.
It's not an endorsement at all.
Oh yeah, when I first heard that quote, I was actually so confused about it because I kept hearing like he's a pacifist. Like people have posted. Hell, I'll fully admit I've used that quote out of context occasionally whenever conservatives are just like, why are they destroying cities? Well, rise of the voices of the unheard, bruh. Like that. Like I've legitimately done that before, but.
Sure.
When I
and the truth is, I think if he was alive, he would be. All right, this is going to sound a little cringy, but the public figure of today, who I think is closest to MLK, is Killer Mike.
Oh, you're not even that far off, actually.
Go and look at Killer Mike's speech after, I think it was after George Floyd was killed in Atlanta. Go watch that speech. I think that's the closest to what MLK would sound like if he was alive today.
Oh yeah, I feel like that's actually very true. Because there's so as I said, I mean, almost every Thursday I'm on ABE, Prime K's All Black Everything panel, where we talk about different black issues and like ways that we can help our communities. Killer Mike has become a topic a few times already. And the fact that so many like black people who are downtrodden in really bad spots right now fucking hate Killer Mike because they say he's out of touch, and they also say that by telling black people to pull themselves by the bootstraps, he's shunning us or something like that. But the way that Killer Mike speaks, it's actually extremely smart, and he's not down. He never downplays what's happening with the black community, but he also doesn't say we need to be babied. And it's, I do like Killer Mike.
Exactly.
I do like Killer Mike.
I think you've just summed up why I think he's the public figure who seems closest to the MLK worldview.
Yeah. No, that's what I was going to say.
But one thing about the bootstraps comments
Yeah.
is you know, it's easy to dismiss it as a bullshit thing to say, and it is. But the truth is, if you're down on your luck and you have nothing in front of you that is an advantage, you have to be fucking delusional and say, all right, I just need to pull myself up from my bootstraps and work hard and I'll fucking find a way. Like your options are to be delusional or fucking die.
Yeah.
And, and,
And some
and I think
people would rather choose delusion.
people need to realize that. Like so much of life is, well, the odds are against me and I'm fucked. But if I believe that, I'm definitely fucked. If I develop some delusion, then all right, then maybe I'll put the fucking work in and keep going.
Oh no,
And I'll fucking get there, you know?
this is something that again, we're slightly off a little bit, but I'm gonna say this last bit here. There's something that I love to do when it comes to these type of discussions. I always liken it to either my favorite video game characters or just anime in general. To help a lot of the younger generation and obviously anime fans, be they black, white, Hispanic, no matter, to help them understand how their world works. It would be something along the lines of almost everyone knows One Piece at this point. It would be something along the lines of Luffy has just lost his first fight, but instead of seeing the damn near impossibility of defeating Kaido, he says, "Fuck that, I'm gonna beat him anyway," and he kept going no matter what, and eventually it happened.
Right.
But and that's how you have to go at life. Life is just gonna constantly fucking throw you down, knock you out. You have to keep getting up and getting out there, and it's depressing, but it's so much. There's so much worth in life when you finally get past that hurdle, like just the first hurdle.
100%. All right, my friend, and I think that's a good note to go out on, a good inspiring one. All right, I will see you presumably next week.
Hopefully next week. I will see if I can get in touch with the people that we had in mind for the last time. Hopefully God, it's gonna be a minute, but I now have an entire week where I'm just kind of waiting for some info. But yeah,
All right, brother. I'm out for the night. I will see you soon.
talk to you later, my dude.
All right, cheers. Thank you to everyone who listened, and thank you to Starlight for posting it on Twitter.
Thank you, Han.
All right, bye.
Bye. Let me go ahead and get to the screen. Okay. What I'm probably gonna do, let me just end here. Thank you so much.